Hello, everybody, and welcome to the August 4th Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
We'll have 5 races to bring you in 2 segments this week, and we'll get things started with the second race from July 29th. This is a maiden special weight for 3-year-olds and up, going long, a mile and 3/16 on the turn.
Yeah, there was a first-time starter for Todd Pletcher in this race that really ran very, very well. I mean, first of all, as you see, that horse is getting completely stayed back to last here, and that's a horse named Springcourt. Now, the 3 Smoking Stars, a horse will have trouble much later in the race, not really worth worrying about at this point. But Springcourt, mile and 3/16 first time out. Steadied back to last, and a race that was really won decisively with a move, 5/8 of a mile left in the race, Eric.
Yeah, the winner was reached a decision. He was up close to the whole way, actually stalking the pace right now in second position here, and you'll see Springcourt toward the outside and the 3-horse Smoking Star toward the inside as they move into that first turn there. But I thought an outstanding effort first time out here from Springcourt.
Yeah, Springcourt. And Springcourt was reasonably well meant to be 6-1 even in this race. It's not really one of Todd Pletcher's strong suits, long distance first-time stars in the turf, and Springcourt, like so many Todd Pletcher horses this meet, he just runs a giant race.
Yeah, it seems like all his horses are running very well up here, and there's a look at the 2 horses that we're talking about here toward the inside, of course, the 3 Smoking Star, Springcourt on the outside there, and these 2 horses will remain toward the back of the pack, and as they move for the far turn, Springcourt's going to just be, in a wide position throughout, and really just, continue to lose a little bit of ground. The 3 Smoking Star is going to steady a little bit at the top of the stretch, but these 2, pretty far out of the contention at this point of the race, where you were talking about before, the number 8 reach a decision, the winner makes that decisive move right there.
Yeah, and you have a race, if you take it apart, they're roughly 12-second eighths pretty much around. It's a mile and 3/16 race, but just sort of on average, and that's a very hard race to close into when you watch. I mean, yeah, horses that finish behind the winner, horses that made little moves in the race, including the heavy favorite who finished second, but it was tough from a dynamic standpoint, and now you're seeing this horse Springcourt make a 4-wide move all the way on the outside. So that's the 3 horse in there. Smoking Star will deal with her in the stretch, or him in the stretch, I'm sorry, but boy, Springcourt, big wide move here, and still keeps on running.
Yeah, Springcourt's about in the 8 path there, turning for home there, and the 3-horse Smoking Star down toward the inside is going to run into some traffic trouble. We'll highlight Spring Star right there. Smoking Star, I'm sorry. Too many S's. Yes. And Smoking Star and Springcourt toward the outside will roll it there, and Smoking Star will steady, and then getting a little bit more traffic in the stretch there. So I'm not sure that he really had a fair chance to finish up. Don't really know how good he is, but obviously the horse of the 2 that you want to keep your eye on moving forward is the 6 Springcourt. The 3 Smoking Star, I think, might be a little bit dirtied up off of this race, though.
Smoking Star comes off 2 turf races at Churchill, where he ran perfectly acceptable figures and has a chance. And the point about this is you can just dismiss the race. So next time that horse Smoking Star is in, draw a line through this race, and if you like the horse off the previous lines, that's fine. As far as Springcourt, I don't think you're getting a big price in this horse, but it's hard to believe this horse shows up in a reasonably near future that he's not going to be very tough to beat.
Yeah, good finish there from Springcourt. No doubt he should be a lot better second time out with a little bit better scenario.
And I hope he gets to run against Colossal Gift, because Colossal Gift, the second place finish, the Christophe Clement horse, he's okay, but he just seems to be one of these horses that leaves himself a little too much to do, and he doesn't get that final punch there. This effort was much worse than the race he ran, the prior race at Belmont.
I agree. We'll take a look at our second race and last race in this first segment here. We're going to look at the 5 Steel Case and the 7 Invocation, a 2-year-old maiden special weight. The 5 Steel Case went off the favorite in this race for Mark Cassie.
Yeah, Steel Case was a first-time star. You could see breaking slowly, and once he breaks slowly, the race is over for him. Invocation, who ends up finishing third, is the one back in last, and he really broke slowly. We'll get to him. Steel Case moves up at this point, moves up between horses, and he was an 8-5 shot. Had a very fast workout at the 2-year-old sale. The winner, unsurprisingly, a Todd Pletcher, Mike Rapoli, first-time starter, who actually got injured after the race, and he's okay, but we won't be seeing him anytime in the near future. Steel Case apparently grabbed himself. I don't like to give big trainer stories, but I think pretty reasonably this horse grabbed himself after the race. He's a horse probably shows up at Keeneland for John Ward next time. I'm not going to fool around with him on Polytrack, but it shows the dangers of hot firsters.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get into with the first-time starters at short prices, whether they're ready to go first time out. Usually they are if they're bet like that, but anything can happen with the first-time starter coming out of the gate. And we're also highlighting toward the back there the 7 Invocation, who really finishes up well here beneath jockey David Cohen, a firster for John Kimmel.
Yeah, and Invocation is a horse that probably wants to go farther anyway. So he gets a good ride from David after the breaking slowly. He saves ground. He stays on the inside, though I do feel that David overcommits the rail, but maybe this horse just wanted to stay inside because he is sitting left-handed. And he just misses getting second here. was a pretty hard-ridden ride for a first-time starter, especially a horse that probably wants to go farther. So we'll see how long it takes to get back to races. Does he get a 7-furlong race later this meet? Does he wait for a mile or mile and 16th at Belmont? That remains to be seen, but it's hard not to say that Invocation, a $250,000 first-time starter, is not a horse with some talent.
What do you do with Steelcase here? Because for me, this one's a tricky read. You know, if he did grab himself, that kind of explains why he didn't have any finish or any punch left in the stretch at all there. But, you know, he was heavily bet this time. He's probably going to get bet again next time out off this kind of efforts. People seeing that he was a favorite first time out here at Saratoga. What do you do with him?
Well, he didn't run well in the race because even though he broke a little slowly, he had a good trip after it and had no answer at the end. The race was won wire to wire by Todd Pletcher. But what do I think? I still think he's a very talented horse. I really do believe he's good. So I'd be inclined to bet him if he ran here later in the meet. I'm not fooling with these horses on polytracks. The Mark Casse horse, he goes to Woodbine. He goes to Keeneland because it's a John Oxley horse, could run at Keeneland. I don't want to bet these horses on polytrack because it gives a new variable that I just don't know what to do with.
Okay, well, interesting thoughts there. We'll see where the both those horses turn up. I'm actually interested to see where Invocation comes out as well. Whether he, like you said, runs back at the meet, or whether they wait for maybe a longer one-turn race at Belmont.
Yeah, you'd think that listen, everybody's thinking about races like the Champagne, the Breeders' Cup. Not that everybody can be good enough, but you have to think that way. And he's a horse who ran well enough his first start, so I have to think they would like to get a 7-furlong race later in the meet, and hopefully they will.
All right, well, that'll do it for this first episode of Trips and Traps. Keep in mind, we love to hear your viewer comments and suggestions, so send us an email at tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com.
Now stick around for the second segment.